Okay, good. Thank you. So we can say that we think that this world, physical world, is real, and from what we understand from the whole story, this physical world is just a projection of our mind. And but identification with it, then this whole physical world and the physical body appear to be real. And so by reading this again and again and again, that it should give us that enlightenment as to the illusoriness of the all these relations that we have. But at the same time, that we have to live in this world as if that is real, as if this is a laboratory for our spiritual progress, and live without any attachment. And the urgency of our sadhana to purify ourselves is becomes very obvious when we read this one again and again and again. So if anybody has got any other insights into it, please open up because there's very, very uh, good story and a lot of things that we can learn from this story. This is not just a story, this is spiritual education for us. Okay, so we start at page 242 in the new book, and so here from section 30 to 39. Uh, so about 10 sections are summarized by Swamiji in this one. Okay. Akilama, you want to continue, Ma?
Yes, Raghuji. Brief section of 30 to 39. Leela enters into the world of Viduratha and witnesses a terrible battle. Sri Vashishta continued, O Rama, Leela saw numerous worlds appear like bubbles in the vastness of consciousness. Some worlds abound with trees and anthills. Some worlds are inhabited by gods, demons, and other celestial spirits. Some worlds are ruled by Brahma. Some are created and sustained by Lord Vishnu, and some are created by Rudra, Durga, and other deities. These different worlds are full of wonders. It is impossible to describe the worlds that shine like scintillating dust particles illumined by the effulgent self. In fact, those whose vision is tinged by ignorance perceive numerous worlds in the placid sky of pure consciousness. These worlds arise out of illusion and are constantly rushing to different destinations. In this boundless space of consciousness, there is neither above nor below. Human beings abide in the world like ants clinging to a round fruit.
Want to comment?
Well, Sage Vasisha is telling Rama about how these different worlds are existing in different planes, and how a person, how an individual, if his vision is tinged with ignorance, then he sees all these worlds in the sky of consciousness, but they are all out of his own illusion. He doesn't see it as really happening. It is just an illusion in his mind.
Yeah. But he thinks it is real.
Yeah.
So,
Just like we think this world is real,
right.
or I think this world is real.
Yeah. So, so what all that in these two paragraphs that Swamiji says, somehow I could not find it in the original book. Like Swamiji says that some worlds are ruled by Vishnu, some worlds are Rudra, some worlds are ruled by Durga and other deities like that, Brahmaji. And so I started thinking, who is ruling this world? So I don't know. It's very, very hard to uh, mm, imagine these things. And
I have a question to ask you, Raghuji. So, when we leave this physical plane, we don't necessarily come back into this physical plane for our next birth. We could go anywhere else, right? That's what I understood from the story.
right, you can go anywhere, or you can come back to this world also.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Because there are so many stories of people being reborn, remembering their past lives in this world, and remembering where they were born, and still that relations that they had with the people who are still living. And so, yes, they can be born here or they can be born in another world. Correct. And,
But Raghuji, we always thought about, see, my word. See, of course, we are actually in this for in this session. We are in the same session, but world means what we have in the world, the people, the things around you. It actually varies to each person, right? So that means that is also can be considered as a different world. My world is different, your world is different, Agilaji's world is different,
right.
but somehow we are actually interacting in a corner of it in a particular place. So that is also, we can actually say that. So because of that, maybe I will born in the same this earth in some corner of, say, I was just thinking in Andaman Nicobar, there is an island and they don't have any connection with the world. There also people are living and they don't know what is our world. We don't know their world. So those things are also can be just considered as a world. The definition of world is actually causing me a little bit of something like, okay, some world outside of Earth, outside of in another plane.
Yeah, you're right. The, the world, you have to take it in the context in which it is being used. So you can say, oh, Raghu is in his own world. Okay. So that means he's not somewhere else, but physically he is here, but his mind is thinking something else, like that. And so the same thing that we see here, that uh, Leela was made to drop the grass body and flew to a different level of consciousness, so-called the different worlds. So,
So, is this how, like, all these realized souls are able to come from different planes and interact with people in different planes, Raghuji?
yeah,
Because they can travel like that?
yeah, yes, because they have that capacity because of their purity and non-identification with the body, that yes, they can go into the different what do you call the worlds. Now, the thing
Prabhuji,
is, you have to
so
realize, why do they want to go? Okay, when they know all these things is unreal, okay, just like this world is unreal, this another, all the other worlds are also unreal. Okay.
Prabhuji, when you're saying, or Akilaji is saying other world, other planes, are we
I
talking
said
about,
planes, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, are we talking about this 14 lokas, or you're talking about parallel planes like another Earth somewhere in another galaxy or something?
Not even another galaxy, uh, because all the galaxies are in this world, in this physical world. Okay.
Yeah, see,
It's,
Vijayji, say for example, amoeba has got their own world, right?
No, no, no. That is not the word. Come on.
No, no,
That is what we call as we can do a bad karmas. We can go into lower yonis. That is yonis.
right.
what I meant is, because what we see the world is actually the things what we can see, right? That's only reference. There are things which is we cannot see in this world because of our inability of our eyes or ears and all, right?
So there, I agree with that. My question is more like what? Akilaji coming. I think I understood her. She's saying another plane. So I heard somewhere, I don't know where,
Yeah, there
Krita
is.
Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga is parallelly happening in some other planes
Yeah.
somewhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
That means,
Gita ji always mentions that in her satsangs.
okay.
Gita ji will say that there is another Ramayana happening parallel somewhere else. We think it is already over here. It is always happening in some other plane.
But remember, when you are reading this one, Yoga Vasishta, do not bring whatever we studied in other books. You will go wacko. Okay? This one will not come into any logic, anything we read anywhere else in any other book. So you like Yoga Vasishta, which I do personally, go with just Yoga Vasishta. Do not try to bring what you learn in any other Vedanta book. This will confuse everything. So go with Yoga Vasishta. This is different, totally different, and a new concept. But what I want to mention is this one is very close to what I observe when my daughter is playing a video game. She's playing a new video game in her PS5, whatever, in which the characters are appears real. She can create a character. She can create the height, weight, whatever she wants. She can give the weapons she wants. Okay, she will play in a world. She will select one of the worlds. She will go play, and her friend will be playing somewhere else at her home. But they will be talking on the phone, and all of a sudden, her friend will appear in the screen where my daughter is playing. Her friend will be there. They were playing, and then she will go, and my daughter will go appear in the French screen. So, like how they go, if she dies, she will reborn with some of the power she had in this birth will be inherited in the last birth. So, I thought that is the closest I can think of what is happening to us.
Good. Very good. So, good input. Anjaneyulu, sir, you want to continue reading?
Sure, Hariom Raghuji.
Hariom, sir.
After observing the wonders of these numerous worlds, Leela and goddess Saraswati both entered into the world of Padma. They beheld the dead body of Padma still covered with flowers, and Leela saw her own physical body seated like a painted picture observed in Samadhi. The people of the royal palace were still in deep sleep, and the atmosphere was filled with fragrance emanating from sandalwood, camphor, and other fragrant materials. Then Leela desired to see her husband as King Viduratha, who existed in a different world system that was confined to the space in her room in the royal palace. Shall I continue, Raghuji?
Yeah, go ahead and read one more, sir.
Leela and goddess Saraswati again penetrated the subtle space, flew through vast space, and alighted in the world of Viduratha. By this time, many years has passed in the world of Viduratha. By this time, King Viduratha was engaged in a terrible battle. Leela and goddess Saraswati, seated in aerial cars, observed the events of the battle.
Yeah,
So, different planes, yeah, terrestrial, they are observing what's going on in the Viduratha's world. And the battle is going to take place, so they are spectators to the battle. So,
yeah. So, let's continue.
And there also looks like here also is talking about Pushpaka Viman here, right?
Say
Aerial
it
car.
again.
Pushpaka Viman. Aerial car.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing that I got my attention is that that she was in her subtle body and she was able to see her gross body in samadhi. So that being meaning that she is out of her physical body, just like we see the stories of people who had out of body experiences, like they died and then they came back to their body, and so they could see their own bodies being like to be resuscitated by the doctors and uh, uh, like I had one neighbor who had the experience that he was taken in the emergency room from Warner Robins to Macon, and her subtle body was following the emergency vehicle to the hospital. So like that, so the people can have that kind of experiences, especially when you are more purified in your minds. So okay, and
Yeah.
Nuligar is not. Yeah, he is here. Want to continue, sir?
Yes, Hari Om Raghuji.
Hari Om, sir.
King Sindhu had challenged King Viduratha with a vast army. Both armies fought a terrible battle. Rivers of blood began to flow, and the battlefield was strewn with dead bodies of human beings, camels, horses, and elephants, as well as with broken weapons, chariots, and numerous other objects. At the decline of the day, when darkness began to spread over the earth, the battle was postponed until the next day, and the armies retired to rest in their camps. King Vidaratha retired to his palace, and being fatigued and wounded, entered into deep sleep. Then Leela and goddess Saraswati both flown into the palace through a narrow space of a window. They entered into the palace much like a twin currents of a breeze.
Comment?
Well, the comment is this is all old type of battle, Mahabharata battle, not what is going on in the present time.
Yeah, camels and elephants. Right, right.
And the other thing is, I know we have been discussing all these planes and all those things, but aren't we supposed to think this is all happening in us?
Yeah.
In what way?
Because you are the Atma.
Right.
So everything happens in you.
If you look at it that way,
Yeah.
that I am the Atman, that from that level of consciousness, yes, everything is happening in this body, and all these things are just going on. So, how to look at it, I don't know.
Well, as far as I know, that is an intuitive knowledge. There is nothing we can see or we can grasp.
What do you mean by intuitive knowledge?
Because this is the knowledge of from the intellect, that it is what is happening. And of course, even if I say it is from the intellect, that's also I should say it's wrong. Because Atma, you have to have the anubhava, that's it.
See, that's where I get lost in these meanings, in the sense that pure consciousness is just pure consciousness. Okay, everything is illusory, and so that it is witnessing something means there is something other than the consciousness. Then
No,
we had to come down to the next level of consciousness, in the sense of that Brahman with the power of Maya, the Ishvara.
no, but even we don't have to, in the sense, in every action what we are doing, it is because of the consciousness, right? Because there is no object, there is no subject. It's only consciousness in every action, every karma what we do.
Say at that level of consciousness, what we call a pure Brahman, okay, there's nothing else.
Yes.
Only when you introduce the factor of Prakriti or Maya, and then the combination, the production of the five elements, and then the Ahankara, the Buddhi, and manas and all those things, then you get into this, the world that we are in.
That is true. But this is only teaching purposes. This Yoga Vasishta is telling all those things.
Right.
Just to, try to understand and see how that Maya can use you and take you to all these different planes, different lokas, different areas, and all
Right.
those things.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right there. Yes. Okay, Dinesh, want to continue, sir? Read the next 3 paragraphs. Section 40. We can't hear you. You are muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Section 40, the nature of the subtle body. Sri Rama asked, O sage, how was it possible for Leela and Saraswati to enter through the narrow space of the window into the royal palace? How can this body, which is gross, enter through a small hole the size of the stem of a lotus? Sri Vashishta explained, O sinless Brahma, for one who is established in the conviction, I am not this gross body, I am the subtle, all-pervading self, it is easy to enter wherever he may like. But for one who is deluded by the notion that he is nothing but the physical body, it is impossible to pass through such narrow holes. Yogis who possess psychic power can reduce their bodies to any size because they are not identified with them. They have gained an insight into the fact that the physical body is the materialization of the astral body.
Comment?
Yeah, the only comment is this is the same thing that where we have learned in the Patanjali as we do our sadhana, we go through different phases and we get what they call siddhis, and where the person can become as big as they want, as small as they can, as light as feathers. So those are all siddhis where people gain, and that's what we are witnessing here. The message there was when the person, especially the sadhaka, when they realize that they need to not make use of them until it is imperative for the good of the society, or the every not for the personal gratification but for the good of the society.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. That was
Raghuji,
right.
I have a question here. Other times when Leela and Goddess Saraswati went to place, they did not need any particular hole to enter. Why it is said here they went through this hole? If they are the subtle body, is the space needed?
It is explained here. The question of this coming through the window was introduced just to show that it is the subtle body that is traveling, not the gross body. But even in the previous life as the Brahmana, they were only in the subtle body.
Yeah,
They
what I
were not
said
in
was, going from plane, their previous birth and the after birth and all these things, wherever they went, they really did not need any door or anything to go.
correct.
That's the reason I was asking.
I don't know. I don't know. That's a question that we need to ask Jyotirmayandiji.
Yeah, I was just remembering that story about Hanumanji is actually suddenly becomes small, and when he jumped to Sri Lanka, he suddenly, along the way, I think there's a Rakshasa was actually trying to hold him, and he suddenly becomes small. Then suddenly, that was I was just remembering. So right, that's a story, a similar one, right? He suddenly reduces his size, getting into the mouth of that, I think, what big sarpa, right?
Yeah, it's not the Sarpa, but it is the like a Simhini.
Yes.
And that is because of Hanumanji had the Ashtasiddhi.
Ashtasiddhi.
Okay, let's continue. And is Karpagam here today? No. And is Maya here today? No. Okay. Jhansi Amma not here. Nag, you want to continue, sir?
Hari Om Raghuji. Even some lower spirits have the power of unobstructed movement. They can pass through small holes. When a sage becomes identified with the Supreme Self, his power becomes endless. Every human being is mental in nature. His physical body is an appearance sustained by an abstract mental substance. Even this mental body is nothing but the self. For one who is established in this wisdom, nothing upon this earth is inaccessible. The experience of death arises as an act of the mind. Wherever a person dies, there he experiences his journey into astral worlds as well as his new embodiment. In fact, he does not go anywhere. For example, to experience dream conditions, one need not go anywhere. In the same way, from the point of view of the absolute reality, there is nowhere to go. One is always the self that transcends time and space. See, I get some idea about that everything is in my mind, nothing is real. Even when I die, I'm still here because there is no death. I'm just leaving this physical body, my astral body is here, everything is good. But one thing I'm still not clear is the interaction with other people around me. So the world is my dream, which is fine, but where is Raghuji coming? Where is Akila coming from? Why are we interact with them? And
The way I understand is whatever that you imagine, the people that you imagine, all of them are in your mind, just like in your dream.
Yeah.
All of them are in your dream. And this Jiva is also having the same kind of similar thought processes.
see, where I get confused is okay, I see Akila, I see Raghuji, I see Geeta ji, so I can interact with them, so I see them in my dream. But where is Donald Trump coming from? I never think about him, never know about him, and all of a sudden he appears in my world. Or Narendra Modi, where is he coming from? I never interact with them, and so those are the things really confuse me.
Yeah.
For example, in your dream, I dream like a lot of times I fly. Okay. Then we dream snakes. We dream. I haven't really seen a snake for so long, but those snakes are all kind of. I think that's also a dream, right? Similar way, only these other characters also comes and goes. That's what my interpretation of that. Why these guys are these people actually in our life? Everyone, even I am in your life. It is just because of that, So.
So I think on the supreme mind is in control of all the individual minds. And maybe I'm wrong, Raghuji, please correct me. All the individual minds are connected to the supreme mind, and any action taken by us is actually part of that supreme mind. And so that's why Donald Trump, you're connected to that. And Ravindra Modi, you're connected to that because it's all part of that supreme mind. And
See,
if
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I mean, that's that's a point. I may be wrong,
Yeah.
but again, I need clarification.
See, that point is easy and convincing as long as we go with the Dvaita or Vashishta Dvaita.
Yeah.
In Advaita, I am the supreme mind. I am the one controlling everything. See, that is why it is easy if we took the Dvaita part. That is easy to explain. What you just said is Dvaita. There is a supreme body and there is a Nag body, and Supreme Body controls Nag body, and in Vashishta Advaita, finally Nag body merge with Supreme Body. But in Advaita, I am the Supreme Body.
No, but
So
still,
it's a lot more to learn.
See,
the mind is
we get
different.
confused there because
The mind is different.
Advaita is only at the absolute level. Okay.
Yeah. But even
But at our level, that we have Dvaita, definitely. Okay. And so we cannot mix my dream world with my waking world. The same way, we cannot mix the absolute Brahman with our relative world of duality.
but Raghuji, that is when a realized person. For him, it's realized one. So he is also interacting in this world, right?
Yes, he is interacting with this with that prarabdha body.
Yeah. So, but the realized person thinks that he is the absolute consciousness.
Right. Yeah, right. That is the thing. See, I am a doctor, okay? But at the same time, when I come home, I'm interacting with my mother as her son, okay? So I don't interact with her as a doctor. The same way, but at the absolute level, I am Brahman, I know, okay? But as long as this body is there, this body is interacting with this world, I am not interacting. So that is the understanding that he has. Okay, that is the reason Arjuna could not understand in Bhagavad Gita when Bhagavan talked about karma sannyasa. Karma sannyasa, Arjuna thought, oh, I'm giving up all the karma sannyasa means I should not do any actions, I should go away to the forest. Okay. But karma sannyasa is where that I am not the body, mind, and the intellect. I am not the doer. The BMI is interacting with this world, but I am not the BMI. And so, based on that prarabdha or the situation, that BMI continues to work in a realized person as much as in any other person. But he knows that he is Brahman, but the ignorant person thinks he is the BMI.
But isn't it, Raghuji, all the dreams are somewhere from your vasanas that come. That these vasanas could be from this life or the previous life or previous life and all those things.
Correct. Correct.
Raghuji, thank you very much. I think you answered the question I had for a long time. Kodi Pranam. Thank you.
I don't know what I answered. You are welcome.
No, you answered my question. I got the answer. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay.
One more, Raghuji, one example on that. See, can we just say on the ocean and all the waves, different waves interacting at, and again it is going back to the ocean, right? So even if you really look at it, each and every bubble is actually different, right? Similar way, we are also different, and we are actually interacting with the beach and the other, but still the bubble. I mean, so that bubble, even the bubble also is actually part of the what are called super consciousness, right? So each one is actually individual bubble, individual consciousness, but it look like individual consciousness, but it is a part of the bigger consciousness of the ocean, right? Right? I don't know.
As long as you are in the world of duality, yes, everything is in consciousness. But as far as consciousness is concerned, there's nothing in me. I alone am. So that's what in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna beautifully says, everything is in me, I am not in them. Oh, actually, in reality, nothing is in me. So, from what angle you are talking? So okay. The Kumar, you want to continue, sir?
Hari Om. O Rama, the ether of the physical world, Bhutakasha, is an appearance sustained by the ether of mind, Chittakasha. Further, the ether of mind is also an appearance sustained by the ether of self, Chidakasha, which is the ultimate and only reality. Though both the physical body and the astral body, consisting of mind, are illusions sustained by the self. Yet, from a relative point of view, the mind has a greater power of pervasion than the physical body. The mind can enter into an atom. It can abide in the middle of the sky. It can become sap in the leaf. This mind can sport on ocean waves. It can even dance inside stones. It can rise to the clouds and shower in the rain. It can become minute or it can become so vast that even the forest would appear like thin hairs on its body, and the mighty mountains would become but a fragment of its limbs.
Comment?
Talking about the Bhutakasha is like a physical body, there's nothing. Chittakasha, the ether of mind. And then the main thing is Chidakasha,
Right.
the appearance of the self. Ultimate, that's reality. That's real it is. And he says like a physical body and astral body comes from the mind and it's sustained by the self. And mind has a greater power pervasion than the physical body. He's talking about the mind can go into the atom, into the middle of the sky, or sap in the leaf. So he's talking about the mind can think and go where it wants to go. It can do a lot of things, mighty things it can do. So this is all illusory, and we have to know that it's all illusory because unless we try to convince ourselves they're real, there's nothing real. So we have to really practice it's all illusory, and we have to stay with it.
Yeah. So with removing the what do you call it? Talk about illusoriness, but here we're talking of the mind. The mind is so fast, okay, that it can go to the moon, it can go to the earth, it can go to the heavens, it can go from here to my hometown, okay. It doesn't even need a second. And so that is the power of the mind, that it can envelope in itself the whole forest, the whole world. So
yeah, Raghuji, one of my friend actually, he actually to go, and he gone to Rishikesh once, and he kind of have the picturesque travel all the way, and he actually just took out, kind of in his mind, and he says that, Sudhir, I almost every day I visit Rishikesh. So what he do is he sit in the puja room and he will just go through all the steps and all the way go and do the pranam and come. So the illusion of mind, you can actually recreate. And see, even in temple also, we just go and close our eyes and pray, right? Same way he was saying that in his mind, he just do the whole thing.
yeah, right.
Raghuji,
That,
in the first para, though both the physical body and the astral body, consisting of the mind, are illusions sustained by the self. Isn't that the Maya? Or here, when he say this one, everything is one. Is that the reason? That's why he says sustained by self.
Right.
that,
Yeah.
the way I understand that sentence is, without self, there's nothing that exists, but everything is in self. That's how I understood it.
Yeah, it says that which is ultimate and only reality, right?
Right.
Then you that.
Ratnam, you want to continue?
Yes, definitely. Oh Rama, this entire world is an apparent reflection of the mind, cosmic mind. The individual mind, when freed from the pressure of egoistic vision, becomes aware of the fact that it is nothing but the cosmic mind. Thus, it becomes aware of its unimaginable cosmic powers. O Rama, every individual possesses the potentiality of the cosmic mind, Brahma, who is the spirit presiding over the cosmic mind, creates this universe in the beginning, every side creation, by projecting his mind. This creation not based upon any memories of the past creation, because at the termination of creation, Brahma is said to obtain liberation from the world process. But every new Brahma projects the world on the basis of the same cosmic mind. In brief, this creation is mental in nature. It is always subtle, but due to the limitation of the mind, it appears gross and physical. So here, Sage Vashishta is saying that everything is the mind, especially it is the cosmic mind. And when you leave off the cosmic mind, then it becomes the unimaginable power when you realize that you are the self, you are that pure consciousness. Then you become, you have that unimaginable powers.
Yeah. Everything depends upon our own thought processes.
Yeah.
Whether you want to identify yourself as the little body or identify with the total mind.
Yeah.
And but just by thinking, Raghu say, oh, now I am identified with the total mind, I don't become that. But only when I go through the sadhanas of sadhan chatushtaya sampannata, shama, dama, uparama, titiksha, samadhi and all that, then I will be able to go to that state that I wish. So we'll continue. And Shobna is not here. Sudhir ji, you want to continue?
Yes,
Did I miss anybody? No. Go ahead, sir.
Hari Om. Deluded by ignorance, the individual soul, which is essentially the soul, self, begins to experience a world even in the placid ether of consciousness. It sees the realms of gods, the mountains, rivers, oceans, and planetary system. Like a bird enclosed in a hollow of a tree, the individual soul experiences birth, death, and numerous diseases of the body and mind. It is ever engaged in securing what is pleasant and removing what is painful. This solid world is in fact sustained by the sankalpas of the mind. If one reflects deeply, one finds that this world is a vaporous substance and not a solid reality. Can I finish it, Raghuji?
Yeah, please.
O Rama, meditate upon this fact that the world is nothing but the mind, and the mind is nothing but the self. This self is the only reality behind all names and forms and is the ultimate goal to be realized by every soul. Leela and Goddess Saraswati had both realized their spiritual bodies, therefore, they passed through the narrow holes of the window and thus entered the royal palace of King Viduratha. Yeah, it is just giving us a what the mind is actually, the whole world is actually kind of it is as like in a dream, and it is all an illusion, and even this world, the solid world, is actually just as our sankalpas only. It is here it is advised, Vashishta Muni is actually asking us to meditate upon this, that world is nothing but the mind. But when in this case, Raghuji, when we talk about this mind, it's actually nothing but the consciousness, right? It is not the mind what we, this, whatever we are actually thinking of, right? It is the consciousness, right?
Yes, yes. It's all modifications of the consciousness.
Yeah.
So whether you are talking of steam, or you are talking of ice, or we are talking of little puddle of water, okay, everything is nothing but water, but appearing in different forms. At the same way here, everything is Brahman.
So
But
I
here
have a
also,
question.
okay. 1
Go
minute,
ahead.
here also that Gita ji's question is actually just popping up again. Why? I mean, realize a spiritual body, they pass through the narrow holes.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
actually
I
repeating.
agree with you. I don't understand, because one should be able to go through even a thickest wall. So when you are able to travel from one plane of consciousness to other plane of consciousness, why do you have to go through some hole? I don't know. So
Yeah.
the
Sorry, Shivaji.
only way
Go
that I
ahead.
could understand, if at all I could understand, is to show the subtleness of the bodies. That's all I could say.
Shivaji has got some
So,
question.
so I have a question about this page 247. Every Brahma is said to attain liberation from the world process, but every new Brahma projects the world on the basis of the same cosmic mind.
Right.
But if you look at page 226, it says 226, 226.
Okay.
The scriptures hold that at the termination of a cosmic cycle, Brahma, the creator, enters into Brahman, the absolute, and the world process enter into a non-manifest state. With the commencement of the next cycle, another Brahma arises who takes up the work of creation.
Right.
He does not have any memories of past creation, since he is a different creator. So I got used to this, because here it says the cosmic mind is there to provide guidance to the new Brahma. Here it says the old one. It says that he has no knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. I got the same confusion. Only way that I could rationalize, or in my mind, is that just like these various positions, like Indra, Vayu, and all that, they're all just positions. And at every what do you call Manvantara, all these gods change. After about 71 what do you call Mahayugas, the new Manvantara comes, but that new Manvantara, the Indra is different. We still call him an Indra. Indra is different. Vayu is different. Chandra is different. Surya is different. The same way here, when a new world comes after the 100 years of that Brahmaji, that Brahmaji becomes one with Brahman, but a new Brahmaji takes that position of the total mind.
But Raghuji, of course, Nag doesn't want me to mix the other scriptures with Yoga Vashishta, but still I'm going to say this one, because it says, when a new Brahmaji is born, okay, on the lotus from the Nabi of Vishnu, he does not know what to do. So
Right.
he goes down the stalk of the lotus, and then Bhagavan says, do tapa, tapa. So he does the meditation, then the whole cycle comes to his mind.
Right.
And depending on that, he creates the new cycle, new world.
Correct. So that knowledge from the total mind gets open to him.
Okay.
What is that mantra, Amma?
Tapa.
Tapa?
Yeah.
Tapa. Yeah.
Oh,
What scripture is that?
it is in Bhagavatam.
Oh, Bhagavatam. Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Ji.
Okay. Swaminathan, want to continue, sir?
Okay. So, in brief, this creation is mental in nature. It is always subtle, but due to the limitation of the mind, it appears gross and physical. Oh, did we finish that?
Where are you
Oh,
reading?
we finished that. Oh, okay.
49.
So,
Yeah.
page 249, right? We are in
Yes, sir.
section 41. King Viduratha wakes up to find two goddesses before him. The Vashishta continued, "O Rama, prompted by the goddess Saraswati, the king woke up. To his amazement, he saw his room lit up by the effulgence of two goddesses. He got up from his bed in haste, seated himself in a lotus pose, and uttering words of praise, offered a handful of flowers to the two celestial beings. King Viduratha said, O goddesses, adorations to you both. You shine like two moons and allay the sufferings of my heart."
Go ahead.
In the meantime, Goddess Saraswati prompted the king's minister to wake up so that he could speak for the king. The royal minister woke up accordingly and expressed his delight and amazement at the sight of the goddesses.
Yeah. So let us have somebody else read. We will go from there. Continue. Uma, you want to read, Amma?
Yeah. Goddess Saraswati asked the king, O king, who are you? Where were you born? Whose son are you? Please relate your story to me. The minister replied on behalf of the king, as was the custom in ancient times, O goddess, in the glorious line of Ishwaku, there was once a king known as Kundararata, who was well known for his valor. His son Bhadravata was both handsome and valiant. Bhadraratha in turn had a son, Vishwaratha, who ruled after his father. Vishwaratha was surrounded by his son.
Succeeded.
Was succeeded by his son Shailaratha. Thus, in this succession, Shailaratha was succeeded by his son Kamaratha, and he by Madharatha, and he by Vishnuratha, and he by Nabhoratha.
Continue.
King Nabhoratha was a delight to his subjects. He was endowed with all the excellent qualities that benefit a monarch. Our king Viduratha was born as his son through Queen Sumitra. When Prince Vidaratha was only 10 years old, his father King Nabhoratha wanted to attain enlightenment and went to live in the forest. He renounced his kingdom and installed Viduratha as the king.
Yeah. Let us continue reading. This is mostly a story. Vijay, you want to continue, sir?
Since then, O goddesses, King Viduratha has been ruling his subject righteously. It is through his righteousness that today we are blessed with the presence of you both. Then Goddess Saraswati touched the king's head with her hand, saying, O king, now remember your last embodiment. At this, delusion dispersed from the heart of the king. He remembered himself a reincarnation of King Padma and became aware of the events of the past. Like one who emerged from the deep waters of the ocean, the king expressed profound amazement. King Viduratha said, O goddess, what a wonder it is! In the world of my previous embodiment, only a day has passed. While here I have lived for 70 years. I remember the event of that life. Even the memories of my grandfather are still fresh before me. I remember my childhood, my youth, my friends, relatives. How could all this be possible? Goddess Saraswati explained. When you died as Padma, you experienced a kind of swoon. And even within the space of the room in Padma's palace, you experienced yourself as Viduratha.
You want to comment?
She just gets that memory which generally when you go from one life to another life, we don't carry the memory, but the goddess Saraswati touched his hand. That's why he got the memory where he was Padma, and he started remembering all the things what happened to him.
Yeah. You can see the whole story. So many generations had happened in the Ikshwaku family. The only thing is, I don't know if go back to Mahabharata and see that Ikshwaku dynasty, if had all these names, I don't know. I have not done that. So you want to go back to Akilama? You want to read?
Yes, Rakaji. Further, King Padma's world is confined to the space in a room in Parvatagrama. O king, such is the power of Maya. A vast world can be confined to a little space, and there are worlds within worlds. Every portion of the world is capable of sustaining numerous worlds. This is because the self, pure consciousness, is the reality behind every worldly phenomenon. Just as a current in a river flows on leaving one whirlpool and entering into another, so the current of mind continues to flow on from one creation to another. Sometimes creations of many souls seem to blend. Sometimes they stay separated from each other, even like the dreams arising in every human being. In fact, O king, you are essentially the divine self. There is no birth or death for you. Nothing is real. This earth does not exist. These mountains, villages, and cities are projections of illusion. Enemies and friends are mere appearances.
You want to comment?
So now Goddess Saraswati is telling the king, just like we are all talking here, how everything is just a projection and not real, and how it is going. My one question here was, Raghuji, when we read all these other Vedanta books and they say it takes so many millions of births for us to come and get into this, get this vasana of learning Vedanta and all. So it may not be actually millions of long births as we think in this body. It could be shorter time, right?
Yeah, it can be. It can be, right? Because you can see Leela, we are going to see later that she remembers that she had 800 births before.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it doesn't have to be so, but because like you said, everything is an illusion. Okay. And in one way, you say, yes, you've gone through hundreds and thousands of lives and so many, what do you call,
Transmigrations.
no, even Brahmaji's lives and all that, but everything is in that illusoriness of the duality. And you don't have to wait for another hundred thousands of lives, but if you put your mind to it, you can be enlightened today. And but at the same time, if somebody is prepared, like this Leela and Padma and all that, because of their righteousness in their life, that they can be enlightened by like what happened with the Saraswati Devi enlightened him. And same thing happened to Leela. The first time she was in her brass body, then she had to drop the body and go. And then when she went to the Parvatagrama, she was actually in her subtle body. And so she could just go. Her identification with gross body was gone completely because of the enlightenment by the Saraswati Devi. And herself coming into contact with Saraswati Devi at her just by prayer, okay, this also shows that how pure she had become by her constant prayers and all that. In addition to that, in spite of that, she had some attachment to her husband and all that. And gradually, Saraswati Devi is removing that attachment to her husband, and so showing that illusoriness of my husband, so who was your husband before and who is he now, things like that. So, okay. Anjaneyalu sir, you want to continue?
One question on that, Raghuji. When we talk about many lives, that not necessarily to be a human life, right? It is can be.
Yeah, you're 100% right. It can be from a mosquito, it can be a bird, it can be a snake, anything. But we have to understand, a jiva is a jiva, okay? And we should not look down upon any of the lives. That's the thing that I try to inculcate in my mind. Like example, a dog is barking in the neighbor's backyard, okay? And then I look, instead of getting irritated, I look at it and say, oh, that is the prarabdha of that dog, and just pray for that dog. Like that. And so, for me, studying all these things again and again and again is to, what do you call, keep on stressing in my mind the oneness of all life.
Establishing.
So, okay. We continue. Who is that? Nuligar supposed to read or Anjaneyalu? Is Anjaneyalu?
Anjaneyalu.
Anjaneyalu is not here. He left. Nuligar, you want to continue, sir?
Yes, sir. For those who have attained intuitional vision, the self alone exists. When the rope is recognized, the fallacy of the snake disappears. In the same way, when the self is realized, the illusion of the world process vanishes. Or when a person recognizes the sands as the basis of a mirage, the latter becomes ineffective. In the same way, when the world is realized as Brahman, it can no longer delude the mind of the wise. Because that's the next section.
You want to comment on it? Then we will go to the next section.
Well, this is, more or less, when once you realize your nature, then everything disappears. Because even though, for a realized soul, who is always in his original nature, even this world just looks like a drama or a cinema.
Correct. Yeah. So he plays the role very well in that place without getting upset or getting excited about something. If he wins, if somebody makes him a king, he doesn't get excited. If tomorrow that becomes a pauper, he doesn't get excited because everything is like just a play for him. So, yeah, you want to continue in the next chapter, sir?
Section 42, 43, and 44. Ignorance lends reality to waking and dream states. Sage Vashishta continued, for those who do not have a pure intellect illumined by the sun of wisdom, the world is the only reality. It is the deluded intellect that lends reality to this world, even though it is, in fact, non-existent and unreal. O Rama, consider this world as a long dream. So, how a dream world is experienced in the minute passages of the Sushumna Nadi, the mystic channel in the spine. See how pure consciousness is refracted into a system of time, space, and causation due to the subtle desires of the subconscious. When you wake up, You discover the illusoriness of your dreams. Compared to dream, the waking state is considered real. But with deep insight, you can see how the waking state is just as unreal as a dream. While dream is contradicted by waking, the waking state is contradicted by dream. Both are refractions of consciousness brought about by illusion, and both are superimposed upon the self. Well, this is more or less, he's talking about only the self and all this illusoriness of and comparing with the dream and the waking world are more or less the same. And of course,
I think so. I was always thought about this, Balashanaji. See, when you sleep, when you are in the dream, we are actually not, we don't know that we are in the dream. Only when we wake up, only we know that we are in dream, right?
Right. Yes.
And when we wake up, we don't know that we are in we think that we are in a real world as like, and we go back to the dream, go to sleep, you are actually in another world. We think that we are right there. So
yeah, knowing that you'll be going to the dream world, you still want to sleep. because even the waking world you get tired and then you want to go to sleep. So
whenever I go to bed, being very truthful, I will say, okay, I am going to be myself. I'm going to see myself.
yeah. Yeah, I pray and I keep on repeating the name of Bhagavan, but unfortunately I don't continue to see Bhagavan in my dream, or even I don't wake up repeating the japa. So I won't come to that level, I guess, yet. So Dinesh ji, you want to continue?
Okay. Now listen to the story of Leela. Goddess Saraswati told King Vidurutha how she had guided Leela to different worlds in order to impart spiritual wisdom to her. King Vidurutha said to Goddess Saraswati, O Goddess, I am an ordinary mortal, yet I fulfill the needs of those who seek my help. You are the giver of infinite gifts. I have taken refuge in you. Soon, setting aside this physical body, I will pass on to the world of Padma. May this minister as well as this unmarried daughter of mine follow me into that world. Continue?
Yeah, just one more. Yeah.
Okay. Goddess Saraswati said, May it be so. Your wishes will be granted, O king. In this battle, you are going to die. The princess and your minister will leave their physical bodies and will follow your spirit astral path. So really there is nothing to explain here except Goddess Saraswati is already letting him know what is about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So he knows that he's going to die.
Yeah.
So yeah. So by showing that he was also, because of his good rule as a righteous king, and he had attained to a great level of purity, and because of that he was able to see Goddess Saraswati, and Goddess Saraswati was able to give him that knowledge. Hey, you are not the body, you are that pure Atman. So and that was enough for him to be enlightened, because he was already an eligible candidate. So okay. And Karpagam is not here, and go all the way to Nag. Continue, sir.
While this conversation was in progress, a servant entered the room in a state of fright and reported to the king that the enemies had devastated the capital and had entered the palace gates. Soon the clamor of battlefield filled the atmosphere. The king prepared himself for confronting the enemies. At that moment, Viduratha's beloved queen entered the room. She was an exact replica of Leela, beautifully attired, endowed with the charm of youth. This Leela had come to seek refuge with the king. Seeing this, the king said to the two, Goddess Saraswati and Leela, O goddesses, a mountain of misery has fallen upon me. Please excuse me. I must go to fight my enemies. Meanwhile, my queen Leela will serve your lotus feet. Please protect her. For the sake of convenience, we will use Leela for the enlightened Leela and Leela 2 for Leela, Vidurat's queen.
Go ahead. Continue.
Leela asked, O goddess, how is it that this queen appears exactly as I used to appear in my youth? How can I be existing in the form of this queen? What is the mystery behind it? Also, these ministers and attendants of the king look exactly like those in the world of Padma. How is it possible for them to exist both here as well as there?
Okay. So we'll continue. Rakesh ji, you want to continue, sir?
Yes, Hari Om. Goddess Saraswati explained, O Leela, the power of consciousness is endless. Similar karmas give rise to both similar and dissimilar conditions. During dream, a person encounters friends and similar relatives to those in the waking state. He also encounters dissimilar personalities in the same way. King Viduratha has attracted to himself a word process wherein he is attended by similar ministers and is wedded to a similar queen. This word exists like a reflection in the mirror of Chitta, the mind. But due to intensification of illusion, it becomes real for the soul. Though the word of King Vidurtha is made of substances of dream arising from the mind of King Padma. Yet it has become real for him because his essential spirit, the self, has rendered all this real. With deep insight, you can understand the illusoriness of the world. At the time of birth, death becomes illusory. During dream, the waking world does not exist. Upon waking up, the dream becomes non existent. In fact, this illusory world is sustained by the reality of the self. When the illusion is negated, all this is realized as Brahman. Hari Om.
Now go ahead and finish. There's only one paragraph.
Okay, Leela 2 exists as an image of your own self, but she has been rendered real by the force of consciousness that underlies the subtle desires of Vidurtha. You, I, and the king are confined to this world. This world is confined to a universe. This universe drifts like a dust particle in the vastness of the mystic space. The mystic space is nothing but pure consciousness, Brahman. Hari Om.
Want to comment?
Going to same thing, talking about how it is and all power of consciousness. When you wake up, you don't remember the dream. When you're dreaming, the real stage, the waking stage is gone, and this is all illusion, and it's like it's Brahman. And he's talking about going through the different words, like a old word, this word, and like how can you get the same wife, what it was, the same councilmen were there because there were wishes, so he can is all illusory what's happening, and this all mystic space is nothing but pure consciousness, Brahman.
Yeah, yeah. In that pure consciousness, all this appear just like waves and bubbles and things like in an ocean. So that everything is nothing but pure consciousness, whether it's a steam, whether it's bubbles, whether it's froth, whether it's a wave, it's a tidal wave, everything is nothing but that ocean of consciousness. So shall we stop here or shall we read a couple more pages?
Raghuji, I have to leave now. Thank you, Ji. Namaste.
Okay, let's go ahead and stop because it's
Thank you.
about an hour and 20 minutes. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्. So will Anjaneyulu do the summary next week?
He is not there.
He's not here, Raghuji.
Yeah. Nuligaru?
Yes, sir. I will do it. Okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Raghuji, one second. Dinesh ji, can you stay back? I want to ask you a question.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, after everybody goes, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, one I actually want to Nagji, we discussed about this multi-dimension, multiverses, right? There is a we are actually living in third dimension, right? Three-dimension world, right? And if you really look at it, a line and a dot is in a single dimension, correct? And a line is a two-dimension. We are in three dimension. When you put a light over a line, you will see a dot, right? And so what I mean is, you put a light on a two-dimension object, you will see a single-dimension object.
Sudhirji, you are echoing, Sudhirji.
I think it's, if everybody else get muted, it will be good.
Okay. All right, so I will start from the beginning. So a dot is a single dimension object, right? A line is considered as a two-dimension object, and we are a three-dimension object. And if you put a light on a two-dimension object, you will see a single dimension. Means if you put a light on top of a line, just imagine, right? So then you will see a dot. That means a single dimension. Similarly, if you put a light on a three-dimension object, you will see two-dimension object. An example is, say you are actually walking and there's a light behind you. What do you see? You see a two-dimension object, your shadow. Shadow has got only two dimensions. There is no third dimension. So up to this, you just continue it. So where I'm going is, a two-dimension object knows about one-dimension object. As a three-dimension object, we can see the two-dimension object. So there is a theory that we are some fourth dimension object we cannot see there, and we are actually kind of a shadow of the fourth dimension object. Whatever we do as a three-dimension object, you can say if you move your finger, your two-dimension object also move or do all the action. But the two-dimension object don't know what three-dimension doing. But a two-dimension is actually at the what is that called? Control of the three-dimension object. You got my point. This is actually a theory of multi-dimension. We are when we talk about how we react, how we interact this world is actually something similar to what we do on a shadow. A fourth dimension, some entity do something and we just repeat. That's like a shadow.
That
So,
our physical bodies are like a shadow of our mind. That's how you look at it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is what. That's in a mind or anything. So that's the fourth dimension part.
Right.
So So this is how the multiverse is actually defined in the scientific world.
So mind is the fourth dimension here, Raghiji, and what are the three dimensions within human?
We have three dimensions, right? Length, breadth, and height. That is what.
Okay.
The fourth dimension, see, there is as many as 5-dimension spaces are actually there, and they actually have some. But this is the way which the scientific community try to develop a theory of multi-dimensional objects.
So can you give me an example of four dimension thing? How is the brain is becoming a four dimensions? It's not brain. I mean the mind.
No. See, mind. See, that is because Raghuji and that is Raghuji was actually giving mind is probably right because we are actually acting upon what mind does, right? Our physical or everything. That is, I do have knowledge about only this up to 3. Now, when I never thought about that 4th one, but Raghuji is actually thrown an idea. So
Raghuji, instead of mind, can you say the consciousness here, Raghuji, as fourth dimension?
That's what we call in our Vedanta the fourth level of consciousness, that is the Turiya. Okay. But between the Turiya and this waking consciousness, that Sudhirji is talking about this various multi worlds.
Dimension.
Yeah,
I
I think
was thinking
Sudhirji, you are right. The fourth
waking,
dimension is the mind. Fourth dimension is the mind. Consciousness or Brahman can be the fifth dimension. I think Sudhirji, you got a good point. I think I need to contemplate on that and expand on it. But that's a good point.
Yeah, this is actually how the scientific world are actually trying to define the multi-dimensional theory on that.
Sudhirji, when you said 3 dimensions, I was thinking of the 3 states.
No. This we are actually talking about the physical.
I was trying to put it that way instead of how the scientific world looks, right?
No, you just put this, even scientifically, this is actually, you can actually prove it, right? If you put a light on a 2-dimensional object, you will see a dot. And if you put a light behind you, you will see a shadow, which is actually 2-dimension. And as a 3-dimensional object, whatever I do, that 2-dimensional object also does do something, right? Say when I wave my hand, the 2-dimensional object also wave something, right? The hand like a 2-dimension hand actually move. Or if I actually open up my fingers, that is also the shadow is there. Whatever I do, that shadow kind of try to replicate. Similarly, as Raghuji says,
No, but how does this translate to multiverse? Like, multi levels of, existence of a human?
Yeah, this is we don't see that shadow don't know about me. Right? The shadow is in its own world, and shadow don't know about me what I do. Shadow is actually probably thinking that it is doing its own thing, but I am actually controlling the shadow. So that is how we have to the thought process, as Nagi said, put into the thought process. But Raghuji gave me one clip that mind. I haven't really thought that 4th dimension can be the mind, but as he said, it is really that can be that, because mind is actually kind of controlling us. So that means whatever mind does, we are actually reacting in a different way. And add to that what Nagji said, maybe the superconscious is actually the 5th dimension, and that is the whole what is that called? Everything is controlled by that. Sorry.
Interesting.
Something we need to keep on contemplating.
Yes, definitely.
But best thing is to go all the way to the ultimate pure consciousness and not get stuck in the multi-world.
Exactly.
Time becomes the 4-dimensional.
What is that? Yeah, we can actually think in that way, Balaji.